Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades, friends, people I don't like. Center Podcast. It's your boy, DjPinHD. Guys, dang, I just had a brain fart. Anyways, guys, it's interesting to watch the Democrats fumble over themselves about Cornel West. They're trying to paint him as a fringe kind of candidate. Excuse me. They don't want him. They don't want people to take him seriously. But he's authentic. Another problem that they have is that black voters are deeply dissatisfied with the Democratic Party for one reason or another. We won't get into that in this episode, but this video, we'll get into it in another video maybe. So, the Democrats are bleeding for black votes, and unfortunately for the Republicans, they are going to notice they're not going to the Republican Party. Stop thinking that we're going over there. That's not happening. That's not what we're doing that for. We're doing it because we need the Democrats to actually give us something for our vote. So we're going to watch a video. Thankfully, CaseStudyQB always has the fire clipping tins, always coming through in the clutch with all the great ones. And this is a pretty good one. They're talking about people considering third-party candidates. You know, it's a good thing.
Joe Biden became the first Democrat to win a presidential election in Georgia since 1992 when he won in 2020. And just to show how crucial black voters were to that win, by our calculations, if less than 1% of black voters stayed home or voted for Trump, the outcome of this election could have been very different. And basically something that we heard on the ground from the director.
Let's keep in mind, guys, Joe Biden only won in Georgia for the first time because he was running against Trump. It didn't have too much to do with Joe Biden. We would have voted for any one of them other Democrats at the time instead of picking Trump, and we were over Trump at that point. The exhaustion for Donald Trump to be out of office was killing everybody. And then double it up with the fact that Donald Trump at the time was like radioactive. Like anybody that was a part of that MAGA movement running to in any type of office or what have you got crushed. That's just what happened.
Director of organizer from the New Georgia Project, which is easily pushing the largest voter registration efforts in the state. They've registered about 30,000 people alone this year. He said people are just frankly not running and jumping about another term of President Biden, and they're frankly keeping their options open. And that's something that I heard from voters consistently, is that while they're aware that Joe Biden could be the default, they're still wanting to see who else could potentially get in this race. At least one voter told me they were considering Cornel West. But the majority of people here said, even though they may just be voting for Joe Biden in the end of this, their big concerns right now is the economy. They're still feeling the stress of inflation, and jobs are drying up in the state. Even though we've seen some of this good economic data, we just haven't seen those perceptions seem to catch up yet. And as you mentioned, these unfulfilled promises. Student debt was something that we heard consistently from voters.
Student debt, Medicare for all, actually cutting child poverty in half with the child tax credit, keeping that in place. Aside from taking care of veterans. Like, there's a laundry list of things that you guys campaigned on. I mean, hell, I remember watching Tyler Cohen go down the laundry list of all the stuff he said that we were going to get in the event that Joe Biden got to defeat Trump. And Joe Biden probably did like 3 of those things, and we lost abortion rights. What? How'd that happen? Nah, you can dress it up all you want.
Really wanted to see that policy come to fruition. But obviously, after the Supreme Court struck it down, we know Biden is trying again. But they were really disappointed that that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and Georgia is important, of course, on its own, but this seems to be also a microcosm of what's happening across the country. We know that black Republicans made some inroads with particularly black men last time around. We know that this president, despite a very impressive track record, suffers from a lack of enthusiasm from a lot of Democratic voters. So, talk to us a little bit about how this could be worrisome beyond the borders of Georgia, but in other battleground states.
Absolutely. That's something that someone...
Republicans are making inroads because Democrats aren't trying to.
brought up to us is like, when there is an enthusiasm gap, you need to pay attention to it. I think this was a problem for Hillary Clinton in 2016. She was not able to galvanize enough black voters to get behind her. And continuously, black voters seem to be a litmus test for Democrats in this state. You need to be able to secure and motivate the black vote in order to win in national elections. And something that people raise a concern about is Biden hasn't been in the state very much. He's been there 3 times since he's taken office. He's been to other swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, a lot more. And there's also concerns about investment. A lot of these groups said that they're not seeing investment until the October before a major election. And black voters really need to see sincere and continuous engagement in order to feel like their vote matters and they're not just being thought of every 4 years. And then their promises, their priorities are forgotten for the next 4 years.
I couldn't have said it better myself, my dear sister. I couldn't have said it better myself. And, you know, I don't think there's many black people that are going to want to vote against their self-interest, but we have to have some sort of understanding and accountability within this Democratic Party where black people are getting more than lip service, some symbolism, and things that you claim that you're going to give, you try to do, and then the Republicans just get to take it away. Oh, and this is what I forgot to mention. We got a brand new background. I know that everybody was like, turned the video on and it was like, what the hell is that? Listen. Okay? Listen, Linda. I got like 36 subscribers. You guys get to be a part of helping me decide what kind of background I choose. So right now we trying this background. You know, I kind of like it. I'm trying to do something other than just have a black background where it just kind of looks just weird. I want to do something other than that, add a little color, a little flavor here, a little there, you know what I'm saying, and just not have this blank void in the back. Put in the comments while you're there. Just click that like button really quick, and then just go over there, hit subscribe, and then just go over there and hit that little bell thingy and hit all. Appreciate it. But then just make sure you go to the comments and say, you know what, DjPinHD, this background is doo stains. No thank you. Change it back to the black bars. Or let me know if you like it. Hey, this is cool. I like it. You know, keep it. You know, I got a couple other ones I'm going to be trying soon, and we're going to maybe do like a little vote.
And you mentioned Cornel West, who by any measure is a pretty fringe candidate, but we all remember Jill Stein in 2016. If West even pulls off a sliver of voters, black voters in particular, that could be the difference in some of these states. So tell us, what's the Biden campaigns? Are they aware of this potential issue, and what's their plan to try to make sure they keep those voters in line?
Certainly strategists.
You know, every time I hear him say it, it makes me cringe. keep those voters in line. One, we know you're talking about black voters, and two, Joe Biden doesn't own my vote, and if he wants to keep me in line, pass something I can use. George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act. Pass it. Pass it. You got us out of Afghanistan, great. But then you got us into Ukraine. What the hell are you doing? No. I'm not just getting in line to just help you stop Trump. No. And don't get it twisted. I am well aware of the gravity of the situation. If Trump gets in there, we lose probably like 2 or 3 more Supreme Court picks. No bueno. Freaking Clarence Thomas might leave just despite everybody. Like, I was supposed to leave in 40 years, but nope. Trump got back in. It's cool. I'll leave now. I mean, that probably definitely almost will never happen, but still.
Have raised concerns about third-party candidates, not just Cornel West, but also this no labels candidates that we're hearing about. But I think the thing that the Biden world is banking on is Donald Trump. Their hope is that if he is in fact the nominee, that will galvanize people in the same way that it did in 2020. There was voters who purely cast a vote against Donald Trump, and they're hoping that threats to democracy and him being on the ballot again will have the same effect that it did then.
Yeah, that certainly is something in some ways that the White House is counting on. Dynamics would change if the Republicans ended up with a candidate that wasn't Donald Trump, but polls suggest there's not really any sign of that.
So, that old Trump, that lesser of two evils argument doesn't work. And us doing a protest vote this election specifically, when the candidate is a person who's made it very clear that he will be weaponizing the justice system, and we can lose the Supreme Court to conservative judges for the next generation or two, it's not necessarily a threat to withhold the vote. It's just a forecast of what is going to happen in the event that, let's say, black people do understand the gravity of the situation, vote in the election to properly to keep Trump from taking office. But then next election, it's Vivek Ramaswamy. And we know how crazy and insane he is. Or next, it's Ron DeSantis. Like, yo, we don't get any wins. And, like, Trump, believe it or not, in this particular moment is the least, is the best option out of those three, which is just, like, insane to think about, guys. Like, Democrats have to work harder at making inroads with grassroots organizations and not selling out 8 months, 6 months, 4 months into getting into office, because you're now making a significant portion of money a significant portion of money. You're no longer broke. I really want Cornel West to win, because I really want to see if he can pull off all the things he claims he's going to do when he gets in the office. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. It's bleak that people don't want to get on code with somebody that's going to actually help them. Most interesting times we live in.